Buying a home for the first time can be complicated, and adding in current pandemic era market factors like low inventory, low mortgage rates, and increasing demand could lead to even more headaches. So for more on how to navigate it all, I'm joined by Daryl Fairweather. She is a chief economist at the real estate brokerage Redfin. Thank you so much for joining us. Yeah, it's definitely a seller's market. The only problem is if you become a seller, you have to buy something. So you find yourself in that cycle of trying to find something you can afford. But if you're a first-time home buyer, it's even scarier. How should first-time buyers prepare as they look to jump into this pretty competitive market?
Thank you for having me. Yes, that keyword is to prepare. The first thing you should do is figure out what your budget is. Talk to your lender, talk to your agent, figure out what you can afford and what the prices are, and then really stick to your budget. Because once you start touring homes or you get into a bidding war, which 2/3 of buyers are facing, you're going to be tempted to stretch that budget. So you really got to know what your limit is and stick to it.
So, okay, so know what your limit is. When you're budgeting to figure out just how much you can afford, how much home you can afford, what are some expenses that the buyers also need to take into consideration in addition to the down payment? Because usually people look at the down payment and the mortgage, but there are additional costs that could pop up.
Yes, so the mortgage payment is very important. That's going to vary depending on what interest rates are. Interest rates are really low right now, which is good news, but there are other things that go into your monthly housing payment too, like taxes, utilities, even home insurance. So figure out exactly what you're going to be paying each month and whether it fits into your budget.
Yep, and don't forget those closing costs. People always forget about the closing costs. Are there any incentives for government programs for first-time buyers that maybe will help them kind of get over the hump?
There are lots of government programs. It can vary depending on where you are at the state level or even at the local level. So figure out what those are. Your agent can help you. You can do research online, and there are so many different programs that you may be eligible for. The one thing I'll say is that because the housing market is so competitive, getting one of those programs may not be the end of the problems that you may face. It may be that you're competing against all cash buyers. And if that's the case, you may want to look at homes that aren't facing as much competition, like townhomes or condos.
Smart. If someone is currently in the market making bids on properties, what factors could give buyers an edge to hopefully snag the home of their dreams, besides, of course, having a bag load of money?
Yes, you should have your agent talk to the seller's agent and figure out what the seller really cares about. There are some sellers who are so concerned about the timing of when they'll move out and are looking for a little bit of lenience there. So if you can offer the seller a rent back period so they can stay in their home a little bit longer, that may be really attractive. Other sellers want a really short escrow period. They want to get out of the house as soon as possible. So you can tailor your offer to be exactly what the seller wants, and hopefully they'll pick you.
Yeah, and I know it sounds sort of silly, but I've seen situations where, you're neck and neck with one person, and sometimes buyers just write a personal letter to the homeowner, just telling them who they are and how much the house means to them. And sometimes that emotional tug of the heartstrings pushes them right over the edge. Be creative, I think, is the point. Daryl Fairweather, thank you so much.
Thank you.